A second stage win for Tim Merlier, his first in a Grand Tour beyond stage 3, and that was oh so close, as you can see from Jonathan Milan's face. Merlier, though, the man celebrating on stage 18. Our very own fast man Robbie McEwen has just sprinted into the studio. Robbie, how impressive was that?
That was incredibly impressive. Also, as you always need in a sprint, an element of luck that there was such hesitation at the front of the field, because Merlier and Milan were so far back with 475 metres to go, but the lack of lead out and everybody looking for, well, who's going to do it, because now's not the time to hit the front as a sprinter. That prop, that hesitation allowed the time and the space in this final straight for Milan and Merlier to get a run coming out of the wheels. And Dainese and Groves must have been thinking, well, it's between us two. Yeah. One of us is going to get a stage win. And then, yeah, the two best sprinters in this race, as they've proven, just came from the clouds and up and over the top.
Milan wasn't lacking a sprint lead out, was he, Nat? And he just wasn't on the back of it.
Yeah, he just wasn't on the back wheel of Simone Consoni. And actually what he does very well, he stays calm, he looks around, he doesn't see his sprinter, so he doesn't lead him out. That's actually... It's even more difficult than doing a good lead out, keeping the overview and staying composed and not doing what you are supposed to do. And he actually allowed Milan, but also Merlier, to even ride their sprints. Explain
that then. Why is that difficult if you are supposed to be doing a lead out, but your sprinter isn't there? Why is it difficult to not do the lead out, and what is all of that about?
If you go back to the last corner, you can see he's there on the radio, and I was like, he's going to be now on the radio at 500 meters to go. But there he looks around, he doesn't see Milan, and he sees in his wheel is Dainese. So if he would have started the lead out, he's not leading out Milan, but he's leading out Alberto Dainese. And then Alberto Dainese would have taken the stage probably, because then there is no moment of hesitation, and Merlier and Milan, they can't come from behind and they can't ride their sprints. Yeah, calm heads all round. Milan as well, with an incredibly calm head. I found his sprint there almost more impressive than any of the sprints he's actually won, Dan. But Merlier, the coolest head of them all, the fastest legs of them all, that's what matters.
It is what matters, yeah, and he came from a long way back, as we pointed out as well. So they both effectively started their sprint from about the same position, as far back as each other. So in many respects, I would say it's quite a fair sprint between them. Merlier was just the fastest on the day. But like Robbie said, they were both caught well out of position. You know, our eyes were focused on where they were. The thing that interested me about Milan is that he didn't look like there was much urgency to regaining where his position should be. You know, every time I looked at him, and he's so obvious, isn't he, that big Ciclamino skin suit, he didn't look like he was really pressing to move up or to dive bomb down the corner. I wouldn't say he was happy with where he was, but I just expected him to be really pressing on, trying to get further up for that last right-hand bend.
Do you know, we were saying at the start of the day, Robbie, how this was still a stacked field for sprinters and how exciting that made it. Often at this stage, certainly in a Giro D'Italia, it's a bit like a glass of Prosecco that's gone a little bit flat, but this had all the fizz you would want in a sprint finish, didn't it? Well,
it was still, you know, overflowing out of the bottle when fizz-wise, because it's still a very deep field of sprinters. We're missing a couple. We're missing, of course, one of the stage winners, Olaf Koy. We're missing Bauhaus as well. He wasn't there today. He hasn't been there for about 5 days, but anyway.
I'm glad you've been paying attention to the sprints anyway, Robbie.
Plenty of quality as far as sprint fields go, but we've still only had 2 riders that are still in the field win stages, which is quite improbable. I mean, they are dominant. They're 2 of the very best in the world. But you've got, you know, a guy like Groves has won a Giro stage. Dainese has won Giro stages. They just can't quite. They must have been thinking today, surely now this is it. But, yeah, we analysed that sprint on the pre-show today, and we had a quick look at Tim Merlier when he got further back in stage 13. He was looking for the gap. He's very good at picking them, slingshotting through, finding space and running everybody down. It didn't work on stage 13. He rode into a dead end. Today, it opened up in the right place at the right time. He's always got the power, but this is quite the record for him winning a Grand Tour stage that's after stage 3. He's never gone this deep into one with a win. So to get stage 18 is a bit of a feather in his cap as well.
Yeah, not just after stage 3, but well into week 3, which is incredibly impressive. I don't know if we can get the iPad working just now, Robbie, but maybe we can rewind all the same anyway and have a little look at the sprint run-in in slow motion. And I'd like to go through it looking at Tim Merlier and also looking at Jonathan Milan, because I find that incredibly impressive. And because my eyes were in Milan, he was my pick of the day. I kind of missed Merlier's run into the line, if I'm honest.
Well, here we do have this run. I don't have it on the iPad, but just at this moment they're lining out. And Alberto Donesi, he's coming off the rider from Israel. And then Groves swings right out wide. He thinks, well, I've got him covered. But just see him come so fast, slingshotting from the background. We've actually now do have it. It's popped up on our iPad. Well, they're too close to the line to say much more about it.
Rewind it and just
if we can just
the riders so
go
we can focus
back
in on it.
and we'll highlight back here. You've got Jonathan Milan.
Sorry, Robbie, I'm going to pause you a little second because we're still on the
Okay.
other shots right now. So if we can switch that and maybe have a little look at what you've got in your iPad, and we can look at it in more detail. Off you go.
Okay, so I've got it on the draw. So Jonathan Milan, he's back here. Tim Merlier is a couple of wheels in front of him on the wheel of Anil Koski. But you see what Nathan was saying. The lead... Oh, very good pen work, Robbie. The lead-out man, he's somewhere around here. Somewhere around there is Simone Consoni.
Just
Not
underneath
doing-
that yellow blob.
Very importantly, not doing a full lead-out. So as we go forward, you keep an eye on Milan and Merlier and how far behind they are. And Merlier's still weighing things up at this point. He hesitated on which side he was originally going to go, because Merlier was first looking out to his right to make a run there, but he noticed that then Donesi was hitting out, so he swung himself back into this line, straight back into the slipstream, and already he's got Jonathan Milan next to him, but he's not in the wheel. He's out in the wind already. So that's an important thing for Tim Merlier. He's making split-second decisions before he really commits to something. He was about to go because they'd hesitated. As soon as he saw the instant somebody started, he said, time to get back in the slipstream for just a moment and then start to think about his acceleration. Milan's already looking to get himself just about boxed in. It opens up in the middle. But Merlier had already started. He already got 2 or 3 100% power pedal strokes underway before Milan could really take off. And it was enough. It got him half a wheel in front, and he held that all the way to the line.
Robbie, I don't know if you can rewind it all the way to the final corner, because at that stage, looking at Jonathan Milan's sprint in particular, he was nowhere near his 2 front riders, and then it looked like he was getting himself boxed into the left-hand side.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I can't go right back to the corner.
Yeah.
He was a very long way. He must have been in 20th position.
Yeah.
And he was shaking his head and he thought he'd made a complete mess of it. And he was right. He had made a real mess of his positioning, considering where his teammates were. But, yeah, this is the last sort of 300 metres, and then we see Milan. So we've got a lead-out rider swung off at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14th position. Wow. With 300 metres to go. It's really improbable. Compared to that, Merlier's in 10th. That's still a long way back, but there's probably 2 or 3 lead-out guys up there. So 7th, you'd say, that's a big feat to come from that far back and get the job done. But even at this point, as powerful and as fast as Jonathan Milan is, you put yourself in 14th wheel at 300, the chances of winning are minute.